Drive for the show, putt for the dough. Even though golf is a game known for its intricacies and technique, occasionally we've seen some pretty hardcore drives and a wee bit of luck combined to create some legendary moments. Let's admit it, everyone loves the guys who can bomb it off the tee. Today's video shows you some of the most GOAT golfers and their farthest driving distance in golfing history. Starting off with Duval's 454-yard. David Duval may no longer receive much attention or be as relevant as he once was, but he's got some of the greatest Masters tournament performances and one of the longest drives in the PGA Tour history books. Known for his Terminator sunglasses and calm, collected demeanor, Duval isn't the type of person you typically associate with a long ball. But as his 454-yard hammer on the 13th hole, round 5 of the 2002 Bob Hope Chrysler Championship at PGA West proves, the former world number 1 had a very potent drive in his day. With an average driving distance of 288, Duval was among the first athletes to embrace weightlifting in the gym, and with his incredible, almost robot-like strikes, it was quite evident. And then it's Thomas's equally amazing 457 yards. Justin Thomas may have only been 5 foot 10 inches and weighed 73 kilograms, but he made an incredibly big hitter. Don't let Thomas's small stature fool you. He's arguably the longest hitter in golf alongside Rory McIlroy, pound for pound, with an impressive average driving distance of 314. The former US PGA champion lived up to this good tag when he launched his fateful smash at the 2019 WJC Mexico Championship at a whopping 457 yards. That's greater than 13 holes on the old course at St. Andrews and is equivalent to 34 double-decker buses parked end to end. Although Thomas's hit was, as you might expect, the longest drive of the tournament, the WGC Mexico is a hot spot for some of the biggest hitting thanks to its altitude. On the 10th hole alone, where Thomas did his thing, 5 players hit drives of over 410 yards. But it was an impressive drive from Thomas anyway. Next up, Charlie's massive 467 yards. Known for that green glove, his lucky charm that he's always seen wearing, a bit of a journeyman, Hoffman proved to everyone that he wasn't messing around and scored big on the first hole during the 3rd round of the Valero Texas Open, with a massive 467 yards. This was the year's longest drive. Hoffman's drive is especially interesting because, other than its long distance, it took place on the first hole of his round. Without even the benefit of warming up the game, the blonde bomber just stepped up, took his chance, whacked the first tee without any golf balls on the range, and went on to rip it 467 yards down the first hole. Like they say, cold turkey. Up next, Johnson's multiple 400-plus yards. With an average driving distance of 317 yards, DJ is no stranger to scandals or big drives. And trust us, we've seen plenty of both. Often touted as the Mark McGwire of the current generation, he outed himself with a monster 489 yards shot on the 12th hole, round 3 of the 2018 WGC Dell Technologies match play at Austin Country Club, an unparalleled reminder of his power and skill. Unfortunately, since the drive wasn't televised, we are unable to provide any additional information on this enormous strike. But to make up for it, here's another 430-yard drive that Dustin launched at the Century Tournament of Champions in 2018. Oh, and how can we forget the 2011 Deutsche Bank Championship's 7th hole at TPC Boston, where he yet again launched another whopping 463 yards? DJ had less than 150 yards for his approach shot despite the hole's 600-yard length. This suggests that he most likely used a wedge to hit the green in 2. And then we got Love's 476 yards. Davis Love III was one of the longer drivers on the tour in his era, though many wouldn't associate him with it. But did you know he won 20 PGA events overall, including 1 major PGA championship? He led the PGA Tour in terms of driving distance twice, first in 1986 with 285.7 and then in 1994 with 283.8. Love made 22 cuts in 1986 and finished a T3 at the Canadian Open in his first full season on tour. In 1994, he came 2nd overall in the United Airlines Hawaiian Open. Man was truly the GOAT back in his day, and he proved it yet again in the 2004 Mercedes Championship when Love came up with a similar effort on the same hole where Tiger Woods had hit his 498-yard crackerjack 2 years earlier. Love's shot traveled a cool 476 yards after connecting with the fairway's downhill portion of a steeply cambered path. Definitely one of the longer drivers on the tour. Next up, the legendary Tiger's 498 yards. Tiger Woods resigned the golfing world before his recurring injuries and back issues, not to mention he was an incredibly powerful driver. And because of the excellence of the rest of his game, it's easy to overlook the fact that Woods' previous dominance was greatly attributed to his length off the tee. Nowhere was this more obvious than on the 18th hole of the third round of the 2002 Mercedes Championship, where he unleashed a monster drive. It was the longest on the PGA Tour in the previous 40 years, measuring 498 yards. He managed to catch a downwind, and the ball rolled quite far. The craziest part is that he still had 170 yards out after nearly 5 football fields on his drive. What's more is that the legendary golfer has over 6 400-plus yard drives. Tiger's average driving distance was pretty high back in the day, but has since come down to 290 of late due to the age factor kicking in and, of course, those pesky injuries. And equally legendary, Lewis's 500 yards. Here's the kindest bounce in all of golf. You'll need a driver, a cart path, and luck if you want to crush a 500-yard drive like Louis Oosthuizen. But most importantly, a lot of luck. While playing a round of golf in the 2013 Ballantynes Championship, Oosthuizen gained a world-long drive, and it went down rather amusingly. On his very first shot, a 500-yard drive hit a hill, rolled down a car path, bounced along for more than a minute, and finally came to rest against a curb. It was a roller coaster of emotions for the South African, and the shot looks like it belongs in the Caddyshack movie. While onlookers were unaware that a ball in play snuck up behind them and the event announcers chuckled with amusement, the ball slowly made its way down the path before coming to a stop after what seemed like hours, 500 yards away from where he first shanked it. Next up, Carl Cooper's 787 yards. Super hard to believe, but a 700-plus yard drive actually did take place during a PGA Tour, true story. But as you've probably guessed by now, it took a lot of lucky bounces and some physics. This was Carl Cooper's 1992 shot, which combined a solid whack with some tarmac-related good luck, measuring a drive of nearly 787 yards. The 31-year-old journeyman hit a drive down the par 4 third hole in the 1992 Texas Open that landed on a concrete cart path that was angled downward. And, of course, according to the laws of physics, the ball took a massive bound, bouncing down the path with even greater pace. By the time the ball broke free of the concrete, it had traveled 787 yards from its original destination. An incredible hit, though Cooper would have probably preferred something shorter. It cost him a round of killing his double bogey. Still, the longest drive ever measured on a golf course, which no one's breaking anytime soon, period. And finally, Mike Austin's 515 yards. When Carl Cooper unleashed his 787-yard monster, he dethroned Mike Austin's big hit, which was arguably even more impressive, so it stands at number 1 on our list today. The exact measurement of Cooper's drive is still disputed by many, as a lot was going on. No one really got around to measuring it, and it's mostly just rough figures. Austin's 515-yard drive still holds the crown in the Guinness Book of World Records for the longest shot. And to top it off, he accomplished it at age 64 while using an outdated ball-to-ball and an equally old persimmon wood driver without help from a path. The longest official drive on the PGA Tour has not yet been surpassed by the mighty swish, which took place in the 1974 U.S. National Seniors Open Championship in Las Vegas. Austin would have needed the day's strongest wind gust of 27 miles per hour from behind him, an incredibly low launch angle and spin rate, and a swing speed of 150 miles per hour to carry the ball 445 yards before it began to roll. Many claim this would have been an impossible swing, but well, Austin did it, and this is why the legendary golf swing called the Mike Austin swing is still practiced and taught by the golf professionals of today. And with that, it's a wrap for this video. Who's your favorite driver? Comment below and let us know. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more. See you in the next one.